Well, major end-of-the-year testing is coming up for a lot of students, including the SATs and the ACTs. So kids will be under more pressure than normal, with finals also right around the corner.
We are taking a closer look at how kids can better handle all that stress, plus prepare for the big exams and how parents can support them. Certified educational planner and co-founder and head counselor of Expert Admissions, Barry Norman, joins us. Now, Barry, always great to have you here. So first, let's talk about preparation. As you know, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. That is a saying for a reason. But what can students do to position themselves for these tests?
Practice, practice, practice. The good thing about standardized tests and even exams that are happening in school, standardized tests are standardized. The more you take them, the more familiar you become with them. You'll start seeing repeated material. Things that you got wrong at the beginning won't get wrong at the end. So the more familiar you are with the test, the better able you are to succeed.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people say that factors outside of the classroom can actually really affect kids when it comes to test day. What are those factors?
So test anxiety is a leading cause. It's very real. It really impacts performance, and it impacts many students. Also, stressful situations at home obviously can impact things, and mental health issues can make their way into performance as well.
But I also imagine like sleeping and
yes,
eating.
and eating, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
So routines are super important. Routines meaning consistency with regard to sleep, with regard to nutrition, with regard to study habits. The structure is really, really good. Structure and knowing what to expect versus the chaos of not having a plan and not being prepared. We much prefer the routines and the structure.
Like you said, planning, practicing, preparing, right? How do you do that? Because some of these test courses are expensive. The books are a little more affordable, but is there a route that you recommend for preparation?
So depending on the student and depending on resources available, you may have a private tutor. There are wonderful free resources available. Khan Academy is great. They have wonderful, wonderful resources. Even the College Board and ACT themselves, for those who are taking those tests, free, good, solid materials available online, and also, like you said, books and things like that.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, what can parents do before the exam to ultimately help their kids?
So it's important to keep it light. The students have enough stress on their own. They're anxious enough. They pick up on our stress, so they don't need any more. And you emphasize trying, right? It's about validating, yeah, this is going to be a big day, or this is a tough test for you. And you've prepared. You're ready. You can do your best. And I love you no matter what.
I love that. That's really, really important. As you said, these are standardized tests. Kids are not standardized, right? So for kids who are not great test takers, how do we make sure that we help prepare them?
So again, it's going to be practice and familiarity. I also prefer not to have students think of themselves as bad test takers, because it's kind of like, you're bad at this, now go do it well.
Yeah.
But take a diagnostic test, see where you need to improve, create a plan, implement it. That's really what it's about, as opposed to thinking of yourself as sort of setting yourself up to fail. So keep it light, know there's a plan, and again, know that with standardized tests, there's repetition. So practice, practice, practice. And I say this as a person who had to do that. Started out lower, crushed it in the end, but you got to practice till you're blue in the face.
So practice and prepare, but what happens if you don't actually do well on the test? How can we sort of help buoy our kids?
Yeah, this is modeling, right? There's so many teachable moments here. Validate the disappointment. I know you're disappointed in the score. What worked? What didn't work? What do we need to do differently? Make a plan and move forward. That's what we need to do for these tests and in life in general.
Yeah, and I feel like Barry's big point was so correct. These kids already have so much stress they're dealing with. Our job is to sort of help alleviate it as parents. Barry Norman, thank you so much.
And this is not the most important thing in life.
So true.
That is the word that everyone should leave with. Barry, thank you so much. And to our viewers, stay right here. You're watching NBC News Daily.